Hi, it's me again with Corel Roll Tips and Tricks, and I promise you this will be the last one. I just realized my one I made the other day was a lot more of an angle. I kind of like both of them the same. This one's a little different. But now I said something about we're going to make it look like the actual chips in there, and without too much to do. I'm going to just remember that's our smart fill, so I can just take it away. And there's the inside of our lines. And since you've already smart filled them, you can just delete those lines and the color will still stay there. Now we're going to take that shape. We're going to make a duplicate in case I mess up and put it up top. And I am going to left click, left click, no fill, right click and outline. There's several ways you could do it, but probably the easiest would be to take your 3-point curve line and go from that node to that node and then reduplicate that curvature. You can't get it perfect, but you can stop there. And then grab your shape tool and make your handles, make it a little more perfect. And for the video, that's probably good enough. Now, this thing is only 2 inches, so we just need to change our nudge factor. And remember 12. Let's nudge that line down. That's pretty good. So now Control D, nudge, Control D, Control D. And all we're making is chips. And you know, this would be a good example. Let's do this. Let's delete that one. Now, how many lines do we have? Well, if we nudge this out of the way for a second, we can have Corel count them for us. 24. So let's do this. Let's nudge this back. And let's take this line away. Matter of fact, let's holding down the Alt key. You can take whoop, because that was part of a group. But what I'm trying to get at is let's take away these lines. You know that. Let me set my nudge factor back on 12 for a second. And I'm going to nudge our cage out of the way. And I am going to take, all I want to do is take those other lines away. Okay. Now let's nudge that back. And look at that, I had one line in there. Delete that. So to make these chips even, it maybe not that big a deal, but Control D and make a duplicate. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do this. Let's take that line and nudge it back up that 1.1. Okay, Control D and make a duplicate and move it down to the bottom. You can see our shape's a little bit off, but that doesn't really matter. Move it up 0.1, move that one down 0.1, and then let's grab the blend docker. I could have already been through if I would have done it my old way, but just to teach you another tool, we're going to blend 22 times. And what this is going to do, it puts the chips evenly spaced out from the other ones. Hope that made a little bit of sense. And now because we can set our nudge factor on back on 12, instead of what I like to do is take the Smart Fill tool, and because our cylinder was black, we're going to make our chips black, but we're going to make every other one of them gray. So I'm going to do the black ones first. I've got a leak. Wouldn't you know it after all that work? I did not check that. Let's, that'd be easily fixed. Let's just back up. Remember we have the 2 copies and we're going to blend them anyway. Let's just make sure that's there. Make sure it's past the line. Let me zoom in. You know, a lot of people have commented that a lot of people that teach on YouTube or make videos in YouTube would quit and start again. And I just don't see it. why can't I blend it? Oh, you know what? I'm on an. That's a curve. Hold down the shift. Oh, now we can blend it. Now we got it. Now we're good. I'm not perfect on the bottom, but I'm not going to worry about it. Now with the Smart Fill tool, fill that in with black. And you know what? I'm not going to nudge it over. I normally would nudge it over that 12 inches, but I need to be able to see which one I'm coloring in, which one I'm not. And then, because we're going to do every other layer just so you can see it. Well, there's two trains of thought here. You could do it this way and then color in gray. And I'm by far no graphic artist, but I think that would look pretty good. Or I'm going to show you another way in just a second. I'm not going to make another part, believe me. So don't be afraid. Set our nudge factor back on 12. Always remember what your nudge is. And nudge that back over to the chip holder. And you have a set of chips. Now, I was going to say there's a way to do that the other way. The other way would be to make them all black. And remember, we have an outline. So we can make them all black. Let's turn them all to black. And if this does not interest you, just tell everybody just quit watching. You know, if I watch somebody's YouTube and it's not my cup of tea, I'm just going to quit watching. Now I'm going to make, and it depends on whether you're engraving this or printing this. If you're going to print it, you can make the outlines white. Look at that. Whoop, I nudged it without changing it back to 12. Nudge it over. And you can't tell me that doesn't look like a set of chips. Anyway, I hope that helped just a little bit. Thank you for watching.